Hey guys, how's it going? I hope everyone is doing well day or night whenever you see this. This is going to be a general reading for fire sign Leo the Lion. All right, so it can cover anything like work, friends, family, health, etc., money, all forms of abundance. All right, it is also a timeless reading, meaning for some it can resonate as an example 6 months in the past or 6 months in the future. All right, so always keep that in mind as well. And so, yeah, we're going to get into your reading here in just a moment. I've pulled all of your cards ahead of time here, Leo, and we're going to talk about real quickly how the placement is going to go for the reading, where the cards kind of what they mean ahead of time. But I did want to do a quick sound bell for some general healing and grounding for the reading for myself and for you guys. Also wanted to say that everyone is welcome here, as we all have Leo energy somewhere in our individual birth charts. Okay, so even if you're not a sun sign Leo or rising sign Leo, or even have your moon in Leo, there still may be a message here for you. So, all right. So just be aware it does get a little bit loud if you're sensitive to that. And if you want to, you can take a deep breath in and out whenever, or you can just continue to breathe normally and listen. All right. All right, Leo. I'm going to put this over here since we have lots of stuff on the table already. Or actually, you know, I can fit it in the corner here if I just move some stuff down. So yes, I wanted to say also too, if you're new, welcome, and even if you're not new, welcome back, right? Appreciate everybody. So I do take one photo at the end of all the cards in case you're interested in seeing it more up close and detailed at a later time. So all you have to do after the live is click in the description box below and just give me a few moments to post it on my Facebook, but all the instructions, sorry, that's my dryer. All the instructions are in the description box below. So I think that's the last beat from the dryer. So sorry about that. All right. So let's get ahead. Yes, let's go ahead and get into your reading here, Leo. So we do, I'm going to set this little timer, just this kind of general in the background there for me to kind of know roughly what time it is. But yeah, we're going to start here in the center with your first 9 cards, and then work outwards into your tarot confirmation cards, and also talk about what's in the top and the bottom of each of your decks. I'm using 2 different decks to get even more insight into your reading. And then at the very end, we have a couple of oracle cards here for you as well. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and call out the cards in order, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, so we have the 10 of Cups in reverse position, the Prince of Staves, or also known as Prince of Wands, in the reverse position, the 7 of Cups in reverse, the 8 of Swords in reverse, the Queen of Staves or Queen of Wands in the reverse position, the Princess of Cups right side up, the Magician in the reverse position, the Princess of Staves, also known as Princess of Wands, in the right side up position, and the Judgment card. Okay. Hopefully that's the last beat. And the Judgment card in the reverse position as well. Now, when we're talking about the cards real quickly before we get into the reading here, also too, you did have 5 major arcanas. So it does speak of some particular changes coming up. They could have already started from your recent past, whatever that means for you, right? Could be a couple of days ago, weeks, months, years, etc. But I wanted to go ahead and call out, as far as the major arcanas, what other zodiac signs or energies, as far as zodiac energy showing up here in your reading, because it could be about a person that you're dealing with, or multiple people that you're dealing with, or it has something to do with the general astrology or collective unconscious. Okay, so we do have some Sagittarius energy here. We have Pisces energy. We have Gemini, We have Scorpio, Pisces again, and then we also have Leo. That you are Leo, right? You and Libra always tend to show up in your own readings. It's really funny out of all the signs. So you're in your own reading there, Leo. All right, so let's go ahead and break down kind of what these rows mean and then go into it. Oh my gosh, you know what, guys? Hopefully it's gonna stop now. Maybe I'll go real quickly and turn it off. I thought I only did it twice, but hold on, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, hold on. Okay, so the dryer timer is off. Sorry about that. Okay, so what we're going to start to do was talk about what the rows can potentially mean, right, as far as time period. But time is fluid and relative. So since it is a general reading for multiple people, it doesn't necessarily have to be those exact time frames, okay? But we are doing a 4.5, 5-week period for this reading. So from March 19th or so to about April 19th. So this first row going across here is going to be the energy of March. So from about March 19th to about March 31st for the first row. The second row can be energy around April 1st through April 9th, okay? And then the last row here in the center would technically be around, right, April 9th through April 19th. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it here. And I'm just going to make sure that we have a little music in the background here. The dog. All right. So we start off your reading here, Leo, with the 10 of Cups in the reverse position. And this can be energy from the recent past that's still trickling into your reading. Sometimes it shows up a lot in the first row and then also later in some of the confirmation cards we'll go over later. But if you find as we go throughout the reading that this isn't your reading, it's not about you or the other person or multiple people, general environment situation. That's why I always tell everyone, if you haven't already, to get your own free birth chart online just by Googling it. And even if you don't have your exact birth time, you can still find pretty good placements and find out where it moon as example. Always check your Venus sign too for more even and higher assets and money. Okay. What's going on in your life, you may resonate more with your sun sign, with your moon sign, vice versa. But like I said also earlier, we all have Leo somewhere in our birth chart. So it's kind of cool to see where that Leo energy may be for you, what house it's in, right? If it's in multiple houses, and kind of see what that may mean for you, okay? But back to your first card here, we do have the 10 of Cups in the reverse position. So this is an energy of somebody possibly not being emotionally satisfied with something and not quite ready to have a celebration or a culmination of energy as far as potentially, if the 10 was in the right side up position, the 10 of Cups, it would be a completion number, right? From 0 to 10, 10 being the highest in the tarot. So it's like a little bit of this energy here, Leo, where somebody perhaps is not quite ready to level up or doesn't want to level up in some way in their life, at work, in a relationship, with their health, their money, what have you, okay? But also the cups in the tarot represent our emotions, so that's why the first thing I said was somebody could be a little bit emotionally dissatisfied or not happy with something. And also this normally would have this celebratory energy with the rainbow in the background and these little tiny people at the bottom of the card, about to cross the river to go to this party at the castle. So it could be kind of like you're not in the celebratory mood yet, or there's an actual celebration being put on hold here. Now, this could be energy from the recent past or currently where you're at, okay, will be different for everybody. Now, it could also just be viewed as like an energetic blockage or some stagnant energy or just like a little bit of a challenge there, and they have They happen throughout every reading and sometimes multiple times. So it's not a big deal. You still have some really nice cards coming up, okay? So I always want to say that too. Now going forward, your second card here is the Prince of Staves in the reverse position, okay? And this is a little bit of perhaps not ready to level up in some way, just like the other Ten of Cups in the reverse position, because normally when the Prince is right side up, he's training to eventually become the king, right? So there's a little bit of possibly hesitation or not feeling quite ready or just some stagnant energy, energetic blockage. Now, it could really be about somebody trying to process their emotions in a positive way with the Malessea behind him, behind this Egyptian boy or man, whatever, young man. Okay, but it's in the reverse position here. So this is actually where my spirit guides wanted me to talk to you about what's on the top and the bottom of your other deck to get even more insight to kind of see maybe why these first two cards came out the way that they did, okay? So now when we were talking about as far as those two cards, that could be recent past energy or even current energies. But what's on the top and the bottom is always energy further back into the past. Okay, so we're the back past, whatever that means for you. All right, so what we have is the King of Swords in reverse and the Eight of Cups in reverse position. And we're talking about it with the Prince of Staves in reverse, right? And so here this is basically telling us, Leo, that in the past, in some way, somebody here again was really trying to work on their emotions and process things in a positive way to perhaps also use their intellect, that's what the swords and the tarot represent, to come together and help them process their emotions in a positive way. But it's in the reverse position, so maybe in the past somebody was still struggling to do that, but again, also a king in the past, not quite ready to level up or move up in the next stage of something, in their life, okay? Now here, when we have the Eight of Cups in reverse, much similar to your Ten of Cups in reverse, this would be, it can be interpreted a couple of different ways, but I would say with your surrounding cards here and everything that's going on, Leo, that perhaps somebody really needed to take a break in the past in some way to figure out their emotions, other people's emotions, all the emotions, right? But perhaps somebody didn't take that break, they didn't have time, or they just straight up didn't take that break to process those emotions. And then when we talk about, just as an example, a couple of questions that could come up when we talk about the Cups cards, whether it's right side up or reverse, is what makes me emotionally happy? What makes me emotionally content? What are my emotional priorities, my emotional boundaries, that kind of thing. But also if you're dealing with another person or multiple people, right, also asking the questions about asking those questions to get the answers for them as well, okay? But again, it was in the reverse position, so it's almost like somebody perhaps didn't have that time to take that break or just straight up didn't want to, okay? But it's like all three of these cards, well, actually, technically only two of these cards have the water, right? But this card, because it's an Eight of Cups and it has all that blue energy, right? All the colors in the card, and it's a Cups card anyway. It's all about the emotions here, okay? So if you've seen me before, but I always like to say or remind people that the cups and the water, shown in the tarot cards is talking about emotions. Our bodies are 90% water, right? That kind of thing. Okay. So going forward, though, it looks like this energy is happening for a reason, okay? Because then you have as your third card, the Seven of Cups in the reverse position. And this is actually how you want to see this card, right? Even though it's reversed. It could be saying that maybe towards the end of March here, or even the first week of April for some, that somebody is now ready to make a decision about something emotionally, right? It's also coming out of the dark night of the soul energy, and this person is finally going to pick a cup. When the card is right side up, you see this king here with the Morgana figure, right? And he is trying to figure out which cup to take, and every cup has different things inside of it. So here he's window shopping for the soul, for options. He's really confused about something emotionally, okay? But when it's in reverse, it's somebody coming out of that. It could be you yourself here, Leo, or another person or multiple people, general environment situation. But this is nice to see because when we just again talked about all these cups cards you had just in the beginning, and all the emotions and water and everything that we're talking about. It's like maybe towards the end of March, somebody is finally like, I know which cup I want. I've gotten the answers for me, for the other person, everybody, what have you. And so now they're ready to make a decision and move forward and get the energy back on track and move forward momentum. Okay. Now, as we go into your second row, which can be energy around March 1st through March 9th, we also have another card in the reverse position, but that's how you want to see it, okay? So here we have the Eight of Swords in the reverse position. This is about an energy of somebody is now gaining more mental clarity around something, perhaps because of making that decision with the Seven of Cups in reverse, okay? Excuse me. So this can be really nice energies, like finally someone, around you or you yourself, Leo, is like, okay, I made the decision. I picked which cup I wanted. I asked the questions. I asked myself those questions. I asked the other person those questions, what have you, right? And now they're like getting more clarity and having the more logical side. So that's the other thing too, is like when we talk about the emotions in the past up here, with the other cards we just mentioned, they were really overwhelming and there wasn't enough of the emotions, the heart chakra working together with the logical brain, the crown chakra. So here now, the crown chakra, the logical brain, the intellect is coming back in. So that's really nice breath of fresh air, right? And that, could be around, the beginning of that first week of April. So that's always a nice place to start the new month with, right? So yes, let's see what else we have here. Now, as your fifth card, you have a little bit of kind of going back to some similar energy here before, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the case. It could just be something triggered you or triggered the other person to go back a little bit, because we do have the Queen of Staves in the reverse position, okay, also known as the Queen of Wands. So it could be, again, kind of that thing where I was saying someone's not quite ready to be a king or a queen. What does that mean? It means being a leader, perhaps, for some, in a higher position of authority over others, or being royalty and a leader yourself, even if you're not taking, even if you're not an actual leader or in charge of others. It's almost like stepping into your own power and presenting yourself like, I am my own queen, I am my own king, whatever, right? It's not about gender, it's just about kind of that energy. But when it's in the reverse position, and she also has water behind her with the Nile River, but it's in reverse again. So it's like going back a little bit to the energy that was there a little bit before. And I don't feel like this is necessarily you here, Leo. It can be for some, but it feels like somebody else's energy here kind of bringing these things or triggering them, or maybe it wasn't all the way healed in some way for somebody here, but it is also just kind of seen as like an energetic blockage or some stagnant energy here, all right? But then we have the wonderful Princess of Cups, and if you've seen some of my other readings for this series and even the series before, last month's series, she was showing up in quite a lot of readings, okay? So this is Pisces energy, even though it's a minor arcana, and I don't usually talk about the zodiac sign energies in the minor arcana. I just particularly have to mention it because the moon is so prevalent in this card. And so, traditionally the moon card would be the official Pisces energy tarot card. Okay. It could also have something to do with signifying something that happened during the last full moon that is maybe now just making its waves fully coming out now. So we just had on March 18th, the full moon in Virgo, but of course it could be further back than that, or it could be more about future full moons, right? Again, it kind of will be different for everybody, but this is that Morgana figure that we also saw over here in the Seven of Cups, right? So she is known as kind of like one of the Celtic high priestesses or goddesses of herbal magic and witchcraft, right? So we see her at night picking some herbs, right? So this also has this energy of doing something non-traditional in some way. It doesn't necessarily have to be about you, Leo. It can be more about the collective unconscious or astrology at this time. And I believe I looked at it in one of the other readings. I think it was April. I'm looking at my notes. April 12th. Jupiter conjuncts Neptune. So Neptune is one of the rulers of Pisces, and this week period that we're in here is from April 1st to the 9th. So even though this can be signifying some of that energy on April 12th, even though that would be the second row, sometimes it comes in a little bit before for different people. But again, putting all that aside, just talking about how it's been showing up in a lot of readings and what it may mean, let's talk about for a second like the traditional meaning of the card too, not just her doing something in a non-traditional time or non-traditional way. She is a princess, okay? So she's open to learning new things. She's also now, you had a prince in reverse up here, but now the princess is right side up. So it's like, okay, she's learning to how to eventually be a queen, okay? Or the next stage or step in a relationship, at work, with your health, with money, what have you, okay? But also what we talked about earlier, the cups and the water in the background represent emotions. So she is more, what's the way to say it? She's more aware of where she stands emotionally. In some way, she's also leaving behind past illusions. Okay, so the moon card in itself in the tarot would represent not seeing something clearly. So she's like, I'm not dealing with that stuff that is murky and I can't see clearly. I'm going to leave that behind, and I'm going to lead with what I do know. Okay, and what is the most important thing, or where you're supposed to start, is knowledge of self, right? So it could even just be you yourself here, Leo, or another person or multiple people, or just an energy of being like, I'm going to move forward with what I do know emotionally, and I'm going to also possibly learn or more of, not learn per se, but it could be adding different layers of knowledge to a craft or a skill or something that you already know, or maybe it's about learning a new craft or skill, okay? But regardless of all that, it is for momentum and progress and positive energy. And so that's really nice to see, because actually this is your first card here in the right side up position. Even though your previous 8 of Swords over here was in reverse, it was still a good for momentum, positive energy and progress. This one is even more clear. So that could be happening more towards, the end of the first week of April, or even the second week of April here. But very nice to see. All right, now moving forward, we have the second row. Remember I said it could be energy around April 9th through April 19th here in your third row. Sorry, I said second, your third row. We have your next card is the Magician in the reverse position here, okay? So I look at this as somebody possibly having some confidence issues about something, or feeling like they're having a harder time manifesting something in some way, because if the Magician was right side up, he has all the tools on his table of the minor arcana. So he's got the cups, the swords, the wands, and the swords, okay? I said swords twice, I think. I don't know. Anyway, he's got all the minor arcana here on the table, okay? He also is, creating something with just the way his hand posture is. He's calling in something to manifest, right? He's very confident. He's timeless. He's all about magic, okay? But it is in the reverse position, so there could be a little bit of this kind of false start, or that's not even the way I would describe it. It's more like, I just feel that there is a little bit of this hesitancy around something here in your reading. Even when I was meditating and pulling your cards, I kept hearing no a lot, or like going back and forth between yes and no. But usually when I tend to hear no a lot when I'm shuffling and meditating, it can just be this resistant kind of energy, or not quite ready for this new stage, or leveling up in some way, okay? But we'll know even more right now, because I'm going to talk about what's on the top and the bottom of your other deck here in relation to that Magician in the reverse position, okay? So here we finally have your card, Leo. You always show up in your own readings, like I said, you and Libra. We have the Strength card in the right side of position. Now, these two cards are energy from further back into the past. And then we also have the Ace of Pentacles in the right side up position. So this could be saying here, Leo, that in some way in the past, you were feeling more like yourself, perhaps, or you were possibly even dealing with another Leo, let's say, right? But there was more passion, creativity, courage, right? All those things that we associated with the Strength card. And then also with the Ace of Pentacles here, it could have been that there was a new beginning right around the horizon, or this fresh start energy. And it could also, for some kind of, when we talk about these cards being in the past position here, reference something around maybe last summer for some, because the Ace of Pentacles, there's a little bit of a timing element there. Or it's like a hesitancy to be like, well, this is kind of what happened last summer. Is that going to happen again if there was something disappointing that happened in some way for you last summer, right? And since we're anyway, over here in the States, right, we're in spring and summer is like around the corner, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. Like when you think of summer too, that could be a culmination energy as far as the plants are at their full bloom, the ones that are at their full bloom during summer, and it's like everything is alive and just full of life, okay? So it could just be a little bit of you here or another person, multiple people, general environment situation, not feeling all the way like yourself, or not feeling extra strong or courageous or passionate about something, and maybe also not accepting the gifts from the universe. That's the other thing about the aces. Not only are they new beginnings energy, but the hand of the divine is coming in and giving you a gift and reinforcing the natural gifts that you have innately within yourself. So maybe you're not trusting something that you're really good at, or the other person is really good at, or multiple people, right? But they don't have to be that way if they just trust that the universe has your back and they gave you certain gifts for a reason, right? Not everyone is perfect at everything. We all have strengths and areas where we excel at. Okay, so if you want to flip that energy, maybe just try to make more time for yourself, put more of that, passionate energy and creative energy, and have courage in yourself, that things will work out, or courage in the universe, or the divine, your guardian angels, your ancestors, whatever you call it, right? That things will work out for the better. Because the other thing too about the Ace of Pentacles right side up is it's a very abundant energy, and he's literally holding, right, a pentacle, a coin. So it can be about money. It can be about all forms of abundance, not just money, but whatever you want to manifest in your life. So again, if you want to be able to manifest, maybe just think about those things we just mentioned, okay? But that's just a little bit of more insight. So let's keep going because we're not done yet. Okay, and let me turn this up for a second. And actually, let's stop for a second here. I wanted to count, I believe you have the majority of your minor arcana cards, which is another way to find an underlying theme for your overall reading, is you had 5 cups cards I counted before. So you only had 1 or 2 swords, 1 or 2 wands, 1 pentacle only, and then all the other ones were major arcana. So what does that mean? Kind of again what we were talking about at the beginning, emotions. When we talk about what we put value on too, not just emotionally, but when you think of the cups, it's about emotions, but it's also what do we give emotional value to? Okay, so that could be another underlying theme here in your reading. But regardless of that, let's put that aside, right? You go from the Magician in the reverse to now another Princess in the right side up position. So you can see the growth in even just these 2 cards here, which is really nice. So now you have that energy of becoming more confident, feeling like you want to level up in some way possibly. And there's a lot of loyalty around you with the dog here. That's from your support system, your friends, family, romantic partner, mental health care worker, whatever it is, whatever your support system is, they want to help you through these changes, and they want to help you work on your confidence and move forward and have more abundance, prosperity, money, health, love, all those things. So this is really nice to see. Okay. Now we kind of end as far as the center of your cards here on this note of a little bit of somebody here, maybe not necessarily you, Leo, but it could be you too, is towards like the middle of April, perhaps. There's something where somebody doesn't want to, again, the emotions, confront some kind of emotions around possibly having more forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of others, or compassion in some way with the judgment card in reverse position. It could also be for some that you don't want to restart something or revisit something from the past, or there was something where there was a judgment made, or are we talking about, when the judgment card shows up, we're talking about the morals, we're talking about legal system, that kind of thing. But it's not the justice card, it's the judgment card. So it's a little bit different. But normally when this card is right side up in other decks, you would see multiple people rising up out of their graves and one of the angels blowing their horn, right? So they're going to be judged how they live their life, if they're going to be accepted into heaven, okay? But it's also just the metaphor of, do I want to live again? Do I want to go to heaven? Whatever that means, right? But we're not talking about religion. It's just kind of an example of some of the imagery you would see in this card and other decks. But it's like, do I want to revisit something, restart something? And when it's in the reverse position, it could be for some of you guys that you're like, no, I don't want to do that. But when I said in the beginning too, that it's like not wanting to, somebody doesn't want to, excuse me, I have my allergies, doesn't want to confront something emotionally as far as forgiveness and compassion, is because if this card was right side up, right, every card has positive and negative. The negative influence would be this kind of self-destructive energy if there was a judgment passed. If someone judged you in a certain way, or you judged someone else, or there's a final ruling of something, let's say, and it didn't go your way or their way or something, there's that image of the woman punching the mirror. Okay, so she's punching herself basically. So when it's in reverse, it's like almost like somebody doesn't even want to not even get mad about something. It's like, okay, first you have to get mad and then maybe cry and then hopefully calm down, right? And have compassion and forgiveness of yourself for those energies coming out, or for another person. But it's almost, and I don't always say this with this card, but it's almost like somebody here doesn't even want to go down any of those roads. They just rather kind of shut it off. Again, maybe going back to not wanting to revisit something, restart it, relook at it, reanalyze it. They're just like, I'm done. Okay. So it doesn't necessarily have to be good or bad. I would just say that if you are done with stuff that no longer resonates with you, that are, let's say, perhaps negative emotions, then that's fine, right? You don't want to reinforce that, but I wouldn't shut down completely the emotional side here. Again, whether it's you yourself, Leo, or the other person you're dealing with, or multiple people. Okay, so, but let's keep going. We're going to talk about your tarot confirmation cards here as well, real quickly. So I will call them out and then we'll go in order. We have the Temperance card in the reverse position. We have the Queen of Cups in the right side up position. Sorry, I'm going to turn. We have in the reverse position, and we also have the Three of Pentacles in the reverse position. So these first two tarot confirmation cards are energy from the recent past, whatever that means for you. And then the last two are more future, current, present energies or possibilities, right? So, I mean, nothing is set in stone. We always have free will, but these are a little bit more not necessarily like it hasn't necessarily gone down yet, okay, for some. All right, but let's start off here with your first one, and we have the Temperance card in the reverse position, energy from the recent past. This is also the card of Sagittarius, if that means something to you. It doesn't have to, okay? But there is impatience. This is the first thing that comes with this in this reverse position. Someone in the recent past perhaps was really impatient about something, or they were having also a harder time balancing between, let's say, as an example, the 3D physical world where this table is, right, and the 5D unconscious spiritual side of things, okay? Because normally when the Temperance card is right side up, she's got 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on land, okay? So she's balancing between the worlds and she's being patient while she's doing that. But when it's in the reverse, it's a little bit of the opposite of that, okay? But this is a confirmation card, so it's going to come in here and confirm the Ten of Cups in reverse, the Eight of Swords in reverse, and the Magician in reverse, okay? So I would say that for two of these, it's confirming what we already know, but we'll break it down one by one, don't worry. And for this one, it is a catalyst because this is actually good energy, even though it's in the reverse position. But let's take it one step at a time here. Okay. So that impatient energy with the Temperance in reverse, when it comes in here and is confirming the Ten of Cups in reverse, could be why a celebration is put on hold, or somebody is not ready or feeling like they want to celebrate something, maybe also not ready to level up in some way because perhaps they're impatient in some particular choice or lifestyle or way about something, but also could be because they're having a hard time balancing between the real physical world, the 3D world, and then also the 5D unconscious spiritual world in some way. Okay. Now, when we have it with the Eight of Swords in reverse, right? I already said it was a catalyst. So because somebody in the recent past was impatient or having a hard time balancing between the 3D and the 5D, it actually led them to be like, well, how can I change that? How can I have more mental clarity to be more patient, to balance these things better? So here it was a catalyst, really complementary energy of, and catalyst is just another way of saying it inspired you or another person or the energy in general to want to change, kind of for the better there. Now, with the Temperance in reverse confirming the Magician in reverse, in order for magic to show up, right, whatever magic means for you, it could just be manifesting and creating things in your world, right? I say this to some of my clients sometimes, is that you can set something in motion, right, but it's not necessarily going to happen just like that, especially when magic, in my view, is just like prayers or having intention, right? So you say something and you want to try to become that thing that you're saying, or have more of that show up in your life, whatever it is, that it's not just going to happen immediately. So it could be the reason why the Magician was in the reverse position, because somebody was too impatient with really wanting something very badly, perhaps, and not trusting that the magic will show up in the right time, in the right way, as long as you, again, work on things also in the 3D world. So a lot of times when people do magic or they're trying to pray or set an intention, that's great and that's beautiful as far as the energetic level and your spiritual side and all of that. But you also have to do the work in the 3D world. So let's say, as an example, you're trying to find more work or a job. If you just say that and you say a prayer for it, or you send some magical intention for it, but you don't actually go out and look for a job or do your online search for a job, then it's going to be harder for that to happen. So it's like kind of saying you have to do both of those things, right, to be the real magician, okay? All right, let's keep going forward, though. And your second confirmation card is the Queen of Cups in the right side up position. And this is, again, energy from the recent past, whatever that means for you. Okay, so the Queen of Cups energy is, she's a queen, right? She's sitting on her throne. She's supported by her team behind her. Okay, her back is comfortable. She can lean back because someone's going to catch her. She can rest in a little more comfortably than, let's say, another person, because she has that support system behind her. But she's also channeled her emotions. Look at all the water behind her. And she is the Queen of Cups, so double emotional energy here. She's channeled them in a positive way to move forward, not to completely shut them down, right? To know that they're there, but not have everything just ruled by the emotions. Again, it seems like kind of a theme right now, and some of the other readings too, about integrating your heart chakra, your emotions, with your crown chakra and your logical mind, having those two things come together. So anyway, when this Queen of Cups comes in here, she's confirming the Prince of Staves in reverse, the Queen of Staves in reverse. Here are all your staves or your wands. And the Princess of Staves right side up, okay? So we would say that for this one, it was definitely a catalyst or inspired or complementary energy. And then for the other two, it's kind of like, all right, you need to get your act together, okay? But we'll take it one by one. So here she could be saying that the reason why the Prince of Staves was in the reverse position, again, they're denying their emotions, or they're quite not ready to look at, maybe there's some confidence issues or hesitancy to level up in some way. But she's like, be a queen, be a leader, right? Even if you're not an actual leader, or you're not a CEO or a manager of other people, step into your own power, treat yourself like a queen, and the world will kind of respond, or king, what have you, whatever. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm getting there. And then the same thing with the queen, right? The two queens, one is right side up and one is reversed. So if you want to, again, work on the confidence, work on being ready, and what's another way to say it? Being ready to step into royalty energy, or take on more responsibilities like a leader would have to do, to delegate tasks. That's the other thing, is that every queen or king or a person in position of high authority or a leader, right? They can't do it all on their own, so they have to delegate tasks to others. So maybe the reason why that Queen of Staves was also in reverse in that second row, the first week of April or so, could be that you were trying, or the other person was trying to do everything on their own, and not wanting to maybe sit back in some way. Maybe it was a little bit of controlling energy of not wanting to rely on their support system in some way as well. All right. But then here we know it finally flips, and then we have her, the Princess of Staves, now in the right side up energy. So she is working on her confidence. She wants to level up in some area of her life, or multiple areas of her life. And she is also seeing her support system and saying, okay, even if I don't necessarily want these people to help me in this certain particular way, just knowing that they're there and that they're loyal and that they have my back, like the dog represents, maybe that's just enough. You know what I mean? Because everybody is different. All right, now moving forward, we're going to talk about your last two confirmation cards, and these again are more future current energies that could be possibilities here. Let me just use it. So your first one is the Pisces energy, the moon in the reverse position, okay? So I look at this as a reminder, or a reminder, or like a challenge in some way, because it maybe hasn't necessarily gone down yet, right? But that's true of all of the readings, depending on who you are, where you're at this point when you watch this video. But this is actually how you want to see this card. So this is great. You don't want to be stuck in the illusions. Okay, when I talk about the moon card right side up, I like to use the example of the coat rack, or just anything in your room. Let's say you're staying over somebody's house and you don't know exactly where everything is at night, and you're going to sleep, and you see something in the background, and you're like, is that a coat rack? Is that a monster? Is somebody breaking into the house, right? God forbid, right? But it's like, if you just switch the light on and you get more information, then you figure out what it is. When the moon card is in the right side up position, it's like somebody doesn't have all the information, still in the dark about something. Okay, and what is behind her? Of course, the water. Okay, so again, emotions. So when this shows up in the reverse position, that's again how you want to see it. So somebody is leaving the moon behind. They're leaving past illusions behind. They're now wanting to move forward with more information, with more light, to see things clearly. Okay, they're having more wisdom around their emotions, or other people's emotions as well. So when this comes in here and it's confirming the Seven of Cups in reverse, the Princess of Cups right side up, all the cups here, or not all the cups, but some of the cups, and the Judgment card. Oh, it's supposed to be this way. And the Judgment card in the reverse position, right? These, I would say, are all really good positions, okay? Seven of Cups, you want to see this card in the reverse position there. It is saying that somebody came out of that dark night of the soul energy. Remember, they made a choice. They finally picked a cup emotionally, and they're ready to move forward. So this is very supportive and complimentary, and can definitely confirming that energy. Okay. And then, of course, it ended up being on the table right beside the other Pisces energy and the moon in the background here. And then this is the moon here, right? So it's like, yes, leave that confusing stuff in the past where you didn't see things clearly, or the other person or multiple people, general environment situation, and have more light, get the more information, work with the emotions in a positive way, ask those questions. What makes me emotionally content, happy, fulfilled? What makes them? How can we work together, right? Also, how can I like hone a skill or a craft to even higher level so I can eventually reach that royalty energy or leadership energy in whatever area of your life. So health, money, love, job, all that stuff. All right. Now this one could be a little bit more tricky since it can go two different ways. Hold on, guys, 1 second. Clear, clear. No. Come here. Shh, 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 shh. You can be a chihuahua right now. Okay, sorry guys. I live right by the stairs, and sometimes that's what they do. All right. So I was saying this one's a little bit more tricky, but not necessarily, right? It depends on what side you fall or you fell in or the other person fell in with that judgment card in the reverse position. If it's about not wanting to revisit something from the past, or resurrect something, or renew something, reanalyze, all the rereads, right? It could be because it was confusing, it wasn't in the light. And so if that's the case, then great, right? But if it's about more of what I was saying on the other side, it could be if someone is completely shutting the emotions down because they're like, well, the emotions can be tricky and they're messy, right? I mean, all of my feelings or all of my feels, as people used to say, right? I don't know if people still say that, but you know, it's like you can't shut all of it down, right? You have to work with your shadow side, the more uncontrollable, uncomfortable is what I wanted to say, but maybe it's uncontrollable too, emotions, okay, right? You don't want to get into if there was a judgment passed that you didn't like or something was ruled not in your favor, their favor. You don't want to become self-destructive, right? But you also want to still be able to look at yourself and look at others and in a critical way, but also a way where you are compassionate and empathetic and forgiving, right? Remember, that was the first thing I kind of said was like, maybe there needs to be some forgiveness or empathy here around yourself or others, all right? Okay, now moving forward, your last confirmation card is the Three of Pentacles in reverse position. This was kind of similar to what I was getting for the Queen of Staves in reverse. Okay, I'm just going to share them together for a second. Well, let's stop here first. It is also energy in the more future, current, present energies, right? As it hasn't necessarily happened yet for some, but it is an energetic blockage or reminder. What's the reminder? Don't do it alone. If you're trying to do something all alone and you don't have the desire to delegate tasks to others or rely on your support system, whatever that may be, then you're not going to be able to be a queen or a king. You're not going to be able to finish this church here, right? So you see this stone worker in the background working on this church. They put up the windows already. This is the main architect, old guy in the center. And so he's telling him where to put stuff, right? If he's doing it all on his own, and that's how it came out in the reverse position, and this one was reversed too. But I was just showing you that because it was almost like that energy coming up of somebody wanting to do something alone by themselves is actually going to block your abundance, right? Since it is a Pentacles card, you want to stack your abundance, your money, your wealth, your love, your health, whatever it is, your job, etc. So don't try to maybe do it all alone is kind of the message here. So this card, since it is also a confirmation card, it's going to come in and confirm the same cards we just did, but maybe in a different way. Okay, so let's show it's coming in to confirm. Trying to hold all of them together here. It usually works better that way. The Seven of Cups in reverse, the Princess of Cups right side up, and the Judgment card right side up. Okay, so I would say that it's, well, we'll do it one by one because it's a lot to say. But basically, if this card was right side up, there's two people in this card, right? So maybe to make that emotional decision about something to come out of the dark night of the soul energy, again, maybe if it's about you yourself, Leo, or the other person with multiple people, you can't maybe do that by yourself. It has to be that person's individual choice, of course, but to go over the options, to look at all the cups, the emotional different options about something, you're going to have to work as a team in some way with somebody at some point or for a little bit, all right? And then if you do that, then you can also shine on your own too later and work on your skill and your craft, in a positive way here, and let go of past illusions and move forward. And if you want to do something non-traditional, right, when I was saying before with this energy, if you are doing something in a non-traditional way, again, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do it all alone. You can still make it yours. You can still make your mark on something, but also when you do need help, kind of accept it. All right. And then here real quickly, when this Three of Pentacles is confirming the Judgment in reverse, if you're having a hard time forgiving yourself or someone else, or being more empathetic or compassionate around judgment call or a final ruling on something, or you don't want to revisit something, that's totally fine, right? But rely on your support system, work with others as a team so you can get out of that. Yes, right on the bell there. You can get out of that funky energy where you're shutting all the emotions down, because that's the other thing too about working as a team, is like they're there for you in the bad times, but they're also there for you in the good times, right? And that kind of goes back to your first card for a second here. Is like, if a celebration is put on hold or you don't feel like celebrating, it could be because you're not telling your support system that you're now ready to celebrate, okay? Something, okay? Or just be culminating something with your emotions and rising to another level or stage of something in your life, okay? So hold on one second, guys. My computer's about to die. It's a mess today. So let me grab my charger. Okay. There you go. Because I have your last little oracle cards here too before you go. I thought my computer was charged, but hold on. Okay. Oh, that's where my light is plugged up. All right. That's okay. I think it's cloudy and rainy here today, but you can still kind of see me or work with it for the oracle cards. Otherwise, the computer will die. So anyway, oracle cards. So let's turn that on. Okay. Anyway, the oracle cards are usually more lighter side of the reading. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, are we back? Hopefully it didn't die. Okay. I think it just froze for a second. I think we're good. Okay. Sorry, guys. So your love oracle message for this time period and maybe even beyond, whether you're watching for romantic love or platonic love with friends and family, or even self-love, or all those things, right? Your love oracle message is free yourself. It's time to take back control of your life, okay? And you see this unicorn here that's in this cage, but they can just easily hop over, right? And so the unicorn, that crown chakra, that funnel of power from the unicorn's head, right? That is so beautiful. That's like that rare, it's not just a horse, right? It's a unicorn, it's magical. So maybe there is something in your life that you need to take back a little bit more of control and responsibility for your actions. But you'll know what it means for you, okay? Because it's pretty self-explanatory. Again, it could be with romantic love or platonic love with friends or family, how you show up in your way of controlling your life in relation to them, and then also for self-love, all right? Excuse me. Now, your last oracle message here is from the Rumi or Remy Oracle deck by Elena Fairchild. I like to say Rumi, but people pronounce it differently. So he was a 13th century Persian poet, and so she's taken some of his poetry and put them together with these really beautiful cards here. So I will go ahead and read the poem real quickly, and then there's like a little short meditations, like 2-3 sentences afterwards. But if you want to look up more of the rest of it, you can just look up the Elena Fairchild Rumi or Remy Oracle deck. All right. So anyway, the card that you got for this time period, Leo, is card number 36, and it looks like Leo energy, right? Fiery, passionate energy. And it says, Passion of the Wild Red Mother. Okay. It says, Passion of the Wild Red Mother. Okay. Don't ask the conscious ones about the wine. Behold the glowing effect of it in the eyes of the drunks. Bring me your unreasonableness, your insanity, your love without reason, and your passion, the passion that makes you crazy and shoos all logical restraints from your mind. Leave your ordered thoughts, sensible plans, and appropriate attire at my door. Put on your animal fur and sing to me in gibberish. When my beautiful goats die, I make drums from their skins, and their spirits live on in passionate play. When the birds drop their feathers, I gather them and put them in my hair. Come drum with me as I place feathers in your hair, and we honor the spirits of my animals, of your animal nature too, wild and free as you are in truth. Stick your tongue out and growl at those who try to tame you with guilt, shame, and fear. Do you think I give a damn for any of their silly games, those games of reason and logic? Of course you should do it this way, they say. It makes sense. But I care not for what makes sense. I care for what brings you alive. Oh, wow, that's beautiful. I think I've seen that one before, but it's very nice. Okay, so that's the end of the poem. And then here is the little sacred honoring ritual or meditation if you want to get more into this energy. So it says, place your hands open before you and say aloud, I call on the passionate wild red mother who loves me without condition and the brother of my soul, Rumi. I ask for your guardianship onto the path of divine passion now. May I lead with my heart, dance in life without fear, and surrender into truth, singing with my soul, becoming a leader of the new way of love upon this sacred earth. It is safe for me to be in my wild divinity. It is only safe and true for me to thrive. It is only safe and it is the only safe and true way for me to thrive. I am blessed now and in the wild red mother's unconditional loving protection and grace. So be it. You have finished your sacred ritual. So yeah, I think that's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I would say that if we had to, put it with just one card from your reading, I feel like it resonates for a lot of it, hopefully. But I would put it maybe with the Judgment card. Sorry, the sirens in the background. So I would say that, right, don't turn off all the emotions, okay? Because it's also saying you can't always do stuff in the logical mind either, right? So you have to work with, again, that reoccurring theme that's been happening for some of the readings for this time period of working with your emotions, your heart chakra, and your crown chakra, your logical mind. So kind of working in unison with both of them together, or also like the poem said too, learning to turn one off and turn on the other for certain times, or if the logical mind, like in the poem, was more about what other people are telling you what to do, then most certainly turn that off, right? Always trust your own intuition is the most important. All right. So anyway, dear Leo, that is your reading. Thank you guys so much, as always, for your views and for your patience with my getting my charger and everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed this time period and you found something from this reading. So Thank you as always for your likes and your shares and your subscriptions. They're all great free ways to support the channel. So if you want to subscribe and you haven't yet, all you have to do is click on the bell icon somewhere over there on the right and make sure it's blue and it's active, and it'll just notify you when I put out new readings. So anyway, you guys take care, and going to take a break and then hopefully come back in a little while with Virgo. So I'll see you guys later. All right, bye.